Morning. It's currently, I don't know, one of the supposedly a red bloody warning day for weather. It's meant to be the hottest, dangerousest day in the world, even though it's not even as hot as most countries are every day. And I'm down in a workshop. Thomas is making a T5 four-wheel drive, which is less easy than it seems. Like every modified car or van or anything, everything's always harder than it looks. This is same as you saw it in the last video, but the silver one's here because there's room, because the Corolla's not here. The Corolla, wow, so it was only a shell. There was nothing on it modifications wise. It was a standard base model shell with a set of BC coilovers and a 3-inch exhaust and a Celica GT4 loom in it. Apart from that, there was nothing inside or outside. Anyway, I've got rid of it because, wow, there's no point when I've got the MR2s. The Corolla made sense when I didn't have things which were lighter, cheaper, 10 times better traction, 10 times easier to tune to go faster. It's just like, you know. So, but as ever, things are getting recycled. Hence, these drag wheels, which were going on the Corolla, are now going on the MR2. The 18T, the one that's going in that, the £100 one, it's now looking quite pretty. But I've not, well, I finished the bottom end, apart from I haven't put the sump on properly yet, because I need to drill and tap the sump for the oil temp sensor, which is in that sump at the moment. That's James in his badass Land Rover from next door. Just got the car in the air, and to me, I'm pretty sure I can get that whole oil pump chain out the block. Maybe if I lever it a tiny bit more. The whole oil pump chain I can get out of the sump on its own. That's the whole oil pump in the sump, broken clean off by the conrod. Turns out I've windowed the block front and rear, which is quite cool. Let me show you. You watch. If I can look, there's my hand. Hello. But yeah, there is a hole right way through the front of the block, right way through to the back. So that's the back of the block. That's in the sump. And that's the front. So yeah. Look, I can view my alternator through the block. That's to the front. Whether you can see anything, I don't know, because my hands are there. But yeah, that is the broken rod. Funnily enough, there's no real play. You know, it spins smoothly still. It's the bearings are probably good to go. The engine still turns smoothly. I just turned, I turned it myself a minute ago, just, the ratchet on the crank, and it spins no problem. It's clearly still got compression, but yeah, this side's broke. The piston is still up there. Here we go, so you can just see it from here. That's the piston up there. Looks like half of the wrist pin has tried to pull itself out. But it's fair to say, almost certainly the head is fucking smashed. But the cam belt's not like gone or anything. The cam belt's still fine, and it's still engine's still turning over fine. But I'd say that cylinder's fucked. But the rest of them, all other three's fine. Literally, it was running on free when it died. You know, it was idling no, it didn't even stall. I put the clutch in and it didn't stall. It ran on 3 cylinders, no problem at all. So, but yeah, you can see rod let go, smashed round everywhere, smashed the oil pump clean off, which is, this is 2 of the oil pump mountings still, snapped the oil pump chain, did a proper job. That's the oil pump. It's actually jammed. You can see it's, I think the shaft's bent, but it's had a good hiding. Big fucking marks there where the rod has give it a good fucking smashing. Look, scrape the big scrape marks where the rod's been hitting it. Absolutely fucked. Even that's got some dents where it was bashed about a bit because it's obviously landed in the sump. That's the oil pump chain, and this is the sump. Absolutely smashed to bits. That'd be where the rod first decided to hit it, and it hammered on the bottom so much that it just smashed it all down. Because of that, and because of the bearings and everything all seemed fine, there's very little in the sump. This is all that came out, and this is mostly parts of the oil pump mounting to the block. That might be a bit of rod, maybe not. Don't think it is actually. So yeah, but looking at the picture, this is a bit of block. This was found on top of the gearbox, but I think most of the block parts went outwards and just landed on the road, so I've never seen them again. And because there's no bearing problems or anything, there's nothing much in the sump, just a few bits and bobs, and most of the rod and the piston is still stuck up in the cylinder by the looks of it, so I won't be able to get to that until I take the head off. Just started taking the turbo parts off. I reckon the turbo's gonna be, probably needs new bearings, would need a rebuild or a new core, because it ran dry of oil. Because it didn't do its bearings or anything, like the engine bearings, I doubt if any bearing material or anything has gone through the turbo and damaged it, but it's probably had oil starvation. So I'm reckoning the turbo's knackered, but so what, it just needs a new core, that's all it needs. It won't be like destroyed. I just felt with my fingers, it still spins fine, it's just got a bit of what felt like too much play to me, and that's just because I had no oil in it. So I might find when I add some oil in it, it's got no play again, so we'll see. Because if it's okay to go, I'm going to use it again on the yellow one, and even if it's not, I'm going to put a new core on it, which I've got spares, and it'll go again. So yeah, this is knackered of course, because this is the windage tray. Obviously the sump and, well, the oil pump falling off and smashing everything to pieces has broken this, so this is for the dustbin. But yeah, it's pretty catastrophic, but also pretty bloody good. Turbo off now, so you can see the hole a bit better. All the way through to the other side. And look, that is the broken rod, and it still spins just fine. Thankfully, this has taken me absolutely no time to take apart. Funnily enough, when I took the back bumper off, I found more bits of block. They were stuck in the back bumper. So obviously when the rod exited the block, it shot shit everywhere. And yeah, 3 more big chunks of block was trapped in the back bumper. Turbo's off and everything, which is quite interesting. Turbo is not knackered. I mean, on the face of it, it looks fine, but it's got a bit of in-out play and a bit of side play. Probably, I would honestly think if I put a load of oil in this, that would disappear. It still spins freely, it's not bad at all. But if I look really carefully on the wheels, it's had a little bit of metal foreign object damage hitting it, which would be bits of the valve and piston and all sorts from that cylinder that's exploded. So I'm definitely going to put a new core on it, but overall it's all right. Here's one for all you, oh, you can't weld cast to stainless, or to weld cast to stainless and it not crack in 2 minutes, you need to TIG weld it with special rods and heat it up properly first and be an expert and all this stuff. And you get a lot of like supposedly pro welders saying the same and refusing to do it and saying it won't last. Well, I'm a shit welder, well, in my opinion, and I certainly don't do pretty welding. You know, practically every time I post something up on like Instagram or something, you'll get people going, oh, you don't know how to weld. It's like, mate, you probably don't know how to weld, and I can't do pretty welding, but I don't try to. I do strong welding. And considering even the outside of the wrap and the wraps of the metal ties have turned purple, the V-band here, which is on the end of that, has turned purple. I mean, this shit has got red hot, red fucking hot. I mean, you see how I use this thing. And as my cast to stainless MIG welding failed or leaked in any way, has it? Fuck, because it's not a big deal. I don't give a shit what people say. It has not leaked or failed or cracked or anything, despite being red hot. All of this under a turbine blanket, which people say, oh, my manifold's cracked because it's wrapped. It's like, if it's cracked from wrapping, it's probably the welds are pretty shit in the first place. So yeah, fuck your neat and tidy Instagram welding that cracks because it's not even strong. I just want to do strong. And this shit, plain old MIG welding, plain old normal MIG wire, plain old everything in the hottest fucking part possible, and it's fine, absolutely fucking fine. But look at all the pretty colours. That's what people really fucking like, isn't it? This is dog shit as well. This is, look, it's completely stripped the thread. So V-band is going to be replaced. Well, the clamp, the actual V-band flange is lovely. It's purple from being so fucking hot, but it's fine. But this itself is fucked. This wrap's soaked with oil, so this has all got to go in the bin, unfortunately. But whatever, I'll re-wrap it. But apart from that, all good.
A few moments later.
Well, that escalated quickly. Basically, I thought while it's all apart, why don't I mock things up to see how things are going to look? And the answer is fucking mental, but in an awesome way. Reminds me of the old Group 5 race cars, the Porsches, and well, actually, you know what it reminds me of the most? One of my favourite ones is the Lancia Monte Carlo Group 5 race car. Had a very similar setup to this. It was 4-cylinder, I think it's 1.5 turbo with engine rear wheel drive and a massive fucking turbo hanging out the back. As you would have seen previously, I'm running, that's a NA 20 valve manifold, which is twin scroll from the factory, so 50 quid. I got some pipes there. I literally, what I had lying around, they are ones that were the pre-turbo piping on the Mercedes CLK with the in-car turbo that I built. I literally spot welded them to the manifold to basically see where room is, because obviously, as you can probably see, it's close to the manifold, so I wanted to make sure there was room full stop, and also room that I could remove the manifold with all that attached to it, because yeah, not so easy. And then you got the cast stainless T3 twin scroll flange thing that I paid about 30 quid for off eBay, which is fucking ideal. Obviously I just need to connect them up, and then a bloody massive turbo. So yeah, I like it. Plenty of clearance. I mean, I could go higher, but as it is, there's over an inch between the manifold and the turbo, and this engine shouldn't move a fucking tool, never mind enough for an inch to be an issue. If I wanted to, I can move this turbo up even higher. I can move it as high as I want, really. Exhaust, wow, there's not much room, is there? The back of the back bumper is about here, so I've probably got room for like one of those race cats, but I haven't really got much room for much else. I mean, I obviously want to stay 4-inch. Even if I made, you know, a twisty turny thing with a big silencer, I think it would have to be a silencer facing upwards. I think I might just stick with the massive amount of noise, because frankly it's fucking awesome looking. I really, yeah, I like that a lot. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm using my trademark cable ties to hang it in place. When it's all built, I will literally make some like hangers to hang it so that the manifold's not taking the weight. Just quickly chuck the bumper on just to see what I was going to do about the exhaust and how much room I got. That's kind of made for it, isn't it? Just the right length. I mean, look, like I say, if I really wanted to, I could go up here, 180 degree, silencer down here, and exit there. But I don't know if I'm going to be bothered. Almost wish there was a shallower back bumper. Do you know what I mean? One that ended like at the lights. I've always thought about that about these cars. In my opinion, they look nicer without the back bumper. It sticks out too far. They kind of look the same both ends, but without making something completely custom, I don't think there is anything like that. You know, I'm not into spending money on body kits, but that is actually one thing I probably wouldn't mind getting. You know, if it existed, I would buy it. A back bumper that ended at the lights, because this sticks out way further than I feel they should. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the spoiler, but literally the only reason I've got the spoiler is because it evens out the weird front to back ratio. I would be tempted to go for a low level drag wing, because that's the thing, see, I think part of the problem at the back isn't so much the length, it's the rounded, like a rounded nose of the front of a car is rounded at the back. If you had like a drag wing that went out to around about the same farthest out part of the bumper, so the back squared off, I think it would look fine. I've been having this going through my head a lot recently. If I could, I would try and make this as sleeper as possible. I mean, because it's what it is, no one believes they're fast anyway. So you do what you want, and people would just think, oh, look at that dickhead with a modified slow ass MR2, you know, which is why I always took the piss with the Skoda badges and all that. Because it don't matter what you put, nobody's going to believe it. I was considering even removing that spoiler and doing something else, just in case the spoiler made people think it was fast. I mean, I've got those wheel trims, those Toyota hubcaps, whatever you want to call them, for the new wheels that's going on it, so I can make it look like a proper wheel trimmed up bag of shit. And most people are thick as anything, they wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? Most people, they associate low profile tyres with fast and big fat tyres with slow. They associate big spoilers with fast and so on, you know, so proper fucking backwards shit. Most, you know, and that's people into cars, never mind fucking your average Joe. But yeah, I'm not sure the direction I'm gonna go with all that yet, but I reckon for now, probably I'm gonna keep the exhaust simple. It's gonna be fucking loud, but at the same time, fuck it. Yeah, this is going to need some serious turbo hangers and stuff to take the weight and everything to stop this becoming a problem. And in some respects you think, yeah, it's quite a lot of work, where I could get that top mount SPA turbo manifold, the cast T3 twin scroll one, and it does fit a HX40 just about, because I've seen it on a 18T, and plonk it there. But that's 500 quid for a start, that manifold. Yeah, it's gonna flow quite well, but it's not gonna flow as well as this. Also, it's a single 2-bolt wastegate, so realistically, what, 38-40 mil, which is not much wastegate for a big ass turbo on a little engine, which makes me worry, you know, boost creep, which, although I'm going to be running big boost anyway, I would almost be worried that thing wouldn't even be able to hold the boost down at the kind of high boost I'd want to run. Well, 25 psi plus probably. It's a lot of unknowns, and that worries me a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, if someone sent me one, I mean, if someone had one, say if somebody had a one kicking around, I might actually put a wanted post up to say, has somebody got one, even if they'll let me borrow it for a fucking week. I'd like to fit one up and see where the turbo sat and see how I felt about it, because yeah, it would be easier, but at the same time as well, a big part of this, and the reason this kind of, you know, does it for me, is one of my favourite cars ever is the Lancia Monte Carlo Group 5 race car, which was exactly like this. It was a transverse mounted 4-cylinder with a tubular manifold, twin scroll, going to a big ass single turbo there, basically exactly like this, with the exhaust poking out exactly like this. And yeah, and if it's good enough to be a fucking Group 5 race car for Lancia Martini, it's good enough for some dickhead like me building some cheap ass car. And like I said, when cars are what you're into, you have to love the setup. And like I said, one of those Monte Carlo Turbo Group 5 cars is one of my favourite cars ever. So sort of mimicking that style kind of, yeah, does work for me a lot more than whacking on some cast fucking top mount manifold that I'm a bit sus about even being good enough. Because the thing is, this will flow really well, and I like things, I like efficiency. Again, I've fucking mentioned it in nearly every video, but it's completely related to this, and that's Lee Connor's Lotus, you know, 1.8 litre Rover K series, so one of the shittiest fucking allegedly engines going, and he's making, wow, by his last calculations on methanol, he's making over 800 horsepower now at not that much boost. Even on pump fuel he was making, well, he was running what, 8s on pump fuel. On his last dyno he made what did he say he made? I can't remember, fucking 700 odd on straight up pump fuel. A mixed, basically he's got a ethanol sensor in his car. It had 95 octane, so not even super. It had 95 octane and a bit of ethanol poured in it. It was 20% ethanol in total. And bearing in mind, normal 95 pump fuel is 10% anyway, so it was no way better than just normal super unleaded. And the reason is, and that's a part of the reason his holds together, despite being an engine that most people reckon can't hold together at fucking 140 brake, is because his is very efficient for what it is. It makes a lot of power per psi of boost, and that's down to things being efficient. And this would be, because you've got a nice fucking tubular twin scroll manifold of decent diameter going to a big ass turbo and a big ass exhaust. Although that cast manifold, that SPA one I'm on about, probably would be good enough, almost certainly would be. You know, it's amazing how shit manifolds can be on turbo cars and still make the power. This would likely make more power at less boost with less back pressure, and just generally be a more efficient, happy engine. You know what I mean? If you, there can be engines making 500 horsepower that will be less stressed than the same engine of a different spec making 250, 300 because of efficiency. So I'm a bit reluctant about running one of them, even though it might make things easier, because the more I look, because I know those top mount manifolds are compact as fuck, it might even clear this. If not, I would have to modify that, cut that away, do something. But I don't want to pay 500 quid to realise it's no good. I might put a wanted thing on the forums to ask if anyone's got one kicking around, because I bought one back in the day for my 205 just as a test fit when they were cheaper. I never used it and sold it on. I'm sure I'm not the only person to do that, but I would certainly prefer this. It would involve more engineering, turbo hangers, but I can hang off the turbine housing bolts onto here. I have got no problem, as I've shown you earlier in the video, in welding a captive nut or something on the housing and hanging it off there, stuff like that. It'd be some fucking scaffolding, but I don't see that being a big problem. But this is typical for a race car. Do you know what I mean? A race turbo engine, the turbos are often that far away or further. They just deal with it via hangers for the turbo, and I think I'll have to as well. If I do that, I think I would just feel the other one's too much of a compromise just to make things easier. I mean, the original setup, this stuff, was to make things easier. It was a simple, compact, you know, did the job, and that's why I'm going to reuse it on that, because it works, it's good. But this is a different animal now, so don't think I would feel right doing that, really don't. While I was at it, I had to see how it looked with the big boy tyres on. The M&H Racemaster drag radials, and the answer is fucking badass. Yeah, that ain't fucking about, is it? I think a lot of people would see that and be like, oh my god, what have you got tractor tyres on it for? Because they don't know what they're for. Doesn't need much of a, I mean, look how flimsy the arches are. I could do it by my hand, but either way, I could flare this out a tiny bit all round. The closest point is here, and again, this is all, you know, I can roll and whatever this back easily, so I can flare it out and roll it back, so it's going to clear. Back bumper, yeah, not bad at all. Same on the other side. I like it a lot. Yeah, I like that. Looks better with a boot down. Suits the spoiler actually. That's some proper tyres. I had to put both sides on just to check. Kind of stops it being a sleeper, but I also know people are fucking thick, so they won't even understand what they're looking at. With the back bumper removed, it looks fucking ace. I'm still in about 50 minds what to do about the back bumper. I just don't like the fact it sticks out. You know, if it ended even there, would be fine. But the fact it sticks out, what's that, 4 or 5 inches? Even more at the back, but even on the rear lights, that's 4 or 5 inches from there to there. Don't like it. I mean, even now I'm looking at it, it just looks fucking wrong coming out like that. It should be flat at the back. If you look at the GT300 race cars, the proper ones, not the fucking shit GT300 body kits all over the bloody world for these things, nearly all of them, they generally try to have a standard looking ish back bumper, recognisable, as in they usually got the hole there and all that, and sometimes they've got at least some of that, but generally there's ends flush with the back bumper, how I would want it. It kind of ran like a half bumper, so it ended there, but also this wasn't here. It had a cut out like this and kind of ended there both sides, which I'd be happy with. And also, like I said, the Lancia Monte Carlo Turbo Group 5 race car, which again is my favourite car going, funnily enough, had exactly the same type of bumper. it ended flush with the rear lights, and it had corner bumpers, and it had bumper above about the light level, but nothing below it in the middle, which is what I'd prefer. But realistically, there's no way of easily or full stop modifying this bumper to do that. It would take too much work, because I'd have to bring it in fucking 4 odd inches. And like I said, all the aftermarket GT300 kits I've seen are nothing like the originals. They just look like Fast and Furious shit. I mean, look at this, right? Look at this car here. If these lights were clear, if you had headlights there, this would look like the front of a car. It bulges out like a front bumper does. It's fucking shit. That's the thing that ruins looks. These, yeah, you can probably see there. Look, you see the front bumper of that one. See the rear bumper of this one. They stick out roughly the same distance. That just looks fucking wrong. It should be flat at the back. It should end at the rear fucking lights. Or if it does come out, it should come out abruptly and straight down. All this smooth back shit makes it look wrong. I mean, there's a shitty Z3 over there, look. At the lights, it goes down. Yeah, it sticks out a bit after that, but it doesn't go whoop. If those things had a sloping rear end like this does, it would look shit. And it's not like they're that particularly nice looking anyway. But that back looks fine. I don't look at that back and think, oh, that's all fucked up, I'm going to change that. But I do with these. I mean, at Bentley over there, look. Rear lights, and then it pretty much goes down. Any nice car, rear lights goes down. I don't care what fucking car it is. You know, totally different shaped cars, saloons, estates, whatever, coupes. It goes rear lights, then pretty much down. This thing, it comes out like a swoopy front nose, and it looks dog shit. Yeah, I have had in mind make this quite sleepery, but it's not fucking possible. I don't think. It's too mental, and I don't think it matters, because I don't think anybody fucking would ever think an MR2's fast anyway, even with the fucking turbo hanging out the back. I think I've said to you before, well, I have said before in many videos, and you can see it if you go back to the video, probably, because I was recording a lot of it. That half-mile day with all those supercars I did in a Corolla, once I'd kicked most of their asses, and the car was being swarmed by rich people asking why this thing's so fast, and I was like, it's got a sleeker GT4 engine in it, with the bonnet open. Literally, we were all looking under the bonnet, and I goes, oh yeah, fresh GT sleeky GT4 engine. And they're like, why is it so fast? Is it supercharged, or is it turbo, or what is it? And anyone that's said it's fresh GTE, turbo is top mount at the very fucking front of the car. You cannot miss it. And these people, they had no idea that was you know, I was like, yeah, look, it's turbo. And they was like, you know, you could literally touch it, and there's like, which bit's the turbo? It's like, fucking that bit right in front of your eyes, the most obvious bit in the old engine bay. These days, almost nobody knows what a fucking turbo looks like, because on most cars they're hidden under the fucking manifolds and shitloads of plastic anyway. So the fact you'd have a dirty great turbo hanging out the back wouldn't mean much to most fucking people anyway. So it's not like it would stop people fucking racing you. Because that's the thing with, I've said before with sleepers and stuff, if it's too sleepery, like my old 205 was, no fucker race you, because they think, or they don't even think you're racing them. They think it's some shit car driving too fast, so they ignore you. Like if you've got some kitted up fucking Supra or RX-7 or whatever, it looks like it's got 1,000 horsepower, then even if you win, most people are like, so what? It's clearly got 1,000 brake, look at it. You know, even, and half the time they would beat it, because most of these cars have got like 400 brake. They just look like they got 1,000, and then they'll be like, ah, these cars are shit. So I don't want that. I want the middle ground where people think, ah, racist dickhead, look at this fucking cunt in this crappy car, and then get absolutely fucking obliterated by it. And I think almost anything you would do to an MR2, people would still think that, because nobody's got any respect for these things in this country, or any country, because they're not fast. I don't think I'm going to try too much to make it a sleeper. I mean, earlier on I posted up on Instagram a picture of the car just here like this, and somebody replied with one of these cars, or a couple of these cars, and he's like, oh, take the Skoda badge off. And I replied, why? It's got a Skoda engine. And he was like, oh really? I didn't know these had Skoda engines. He didn't even realise I just meant my car. He genuinely thought they all did, and he was none the wiser. So it's so easy to, you know, confuse people or blag people. Why do you think all these dickheads have like shit Ferrari replica ones of these? Because most people wouldn't know the bloody difference. So yeah, I might Skoda badge, maybe AA badge, which is useful because I break things and then I have to call the AA anyway. Jesus Fish fucking might get the cats back from the Corolla, the cat stickers in the back window and all that, and you know, maybe the hubcaps on those wheels, maybe not, I don't fucking know. But I think no matter what it looks like, people are going to be confused. But no matter what I make it look like, I don't fucking like this rear bumper at all. At all. Unless, like I said, I have a drag wing that sticks out as far as the rear bumper does. So that's why it looks less shit with this on, because it sticks out about as far. But if I had a low level drag wing that stuck out about as far, it would square it off and I would hate it less. Considering well, you'd have seen from my videos, I don't generally give a fuck about a car's looks. The rear end on these really does my head in. I don't like it. So yeah, fucking hell. Anyway, I'm going now because it's fucking late. And I've been reliably informed there's a power cut where I live. And there's going to be no power till gone midnight. So I need to buy some food on the way home because I ain't going to be able to fucking cook anything. So I better go. See you later.